Welcome to Prime Luxury. 33-year-old high-stakes poker player, venture capitalist, risk-taker, recent actor, and undoubted Playboy King with a net worth of a staggering $100 million. It's easy to see why everyone is talking about and infatuated with Dan Bilzerian. Today we will check out inside the life of Dan Bilzerian. 8. Dan Bilzerian's early life. Daniel Dan Brandon Bilzerian was born on 7th December 1980 in Florida, USA, to Paul Bilzerian and Terry Steffen. Dan's father was a well-known Armenian-American businessman and venture capitalist, having invested large stock in diverse companies. His father graduated from Harvard Business School and immediately founded his robotics company. The robotics company thrived, and he would earn up to an 8-figure salary. Unfortunately, his father was convicted of fraud and went bankrupt as he had to pay a fine of $1.5 million. In addition to the prison fine, Paul served 13 months of his 4-year prison sentence. However, his previous assets of wealth contributed to the wealth of his children as he provided trust funds to his sons at an early age. Dan attributes his wealth to a trust fund from his father, a corporate raider on Wall Street, and his professional poker career and CBD company. His Instagram is proof of the extravagant lifestyle he lives as he flaunts his cars, guns, and house. Dan is a bachelor, and his Instagram page is proof of how much he is enjoying it as he posts himself surrounded by many ladies as they enjoy themselves. 7. Dan Bilzerian's acting career. The popular Instagram Playboy has featured in many popular TV shows and movies, taking both big roles and minute roles. Dan has been privileged enough to act alongside great actors such as Denzel Washington. His acting career began coming to fruition in 2013 when he acted in his first movie called Lone Survivor, a war and action movie where he played SCPO Daniel Healy. In 2014, Dan Bilzerian was featured in The Equalizer, a drama movie as Teddy's Guy, in Cat Run 2, a comedy movie as Cordray, and in The Other Woman, a psychological thriller as the handsome man at the bar. In 2015, Dan Bilzerian featured in Extraction, an action movie as Higgins. The latest movie that Dan Bilzerian has featured in is War Dogs Movie, a comedy-drama film in which he acted as himself. Dan Bilzerian has also featured in a TV show called Risk Takers, reality show which was first aired in 2016 and is ongoing today. Dan Bilzerian is also a talented executive producer. In 2017, he produced an animated cartoon new television series called Blitz Real Hollywood Stories. In the series, which was produced in the US, Dan shares true-life stories of his life journey in an animated form as he shares the lessons learned. 6. Dan Bilzerian's poker career. Dan is a professional poker player who has been playing since childhood. He used to play with his brother, Adam Bilzerian, who is also a fellow poker player. The two used to compete, and it is quite clear that Dan is the better one, as he has made it big time. Dan is the co-founder of Victory Poker and GG Poker Ambassador, bets up to 8 digits, which is millions, on a single high-stakes poker game, and has won millions of money on those cash games. His winning mindset is what has separated him from the rest of the poker players in the poker community, making him the best. For example, he was once able to turn $750 into $187,000 on a single high-cash stake game. In 2008, Dan Bilzerian competed in the World Series of Poker main event. He was able to finish in 180th place, earning $36,626. He has competed against renowned poker players like Phil Ivey and Joe Cotta and won them. Similarly, in 2010, Dan was voted one of the world's funniest poker players by Bluff magazine. Again, the poll was carried out on Twitter, and his fans voted for him. Dan Bilzerian announced a heads-up poker match with Alec Gores, a billionaire venture capitalist from Israel. They once competed against each other in Molly's Game, the biggest and most exclusive poker game in Hollywood, hosted by Molly Bloom, where Dan Bilzerian claimed to have won $40 million. They will be playing for $100 million, $50 million each, in Las Vegas. 5. Racing career. In 2011, Dan Bilzerian participated in the Las Vegas Motor Speed War drag race. In the race, he competed with his 1967 AC Cobra. Dan beat Tom Goldstein and was awarded $385,000. The race statistics show that he could complete the race in 10.74 seconds at an average speed of 133 miles per hour, while his competitor, Tom Goldstein, finished the race in 11.54 seconds with an average speed of 122 miles per hour. Dan not only competed in drag races, but also rode a bike. He took a bet with Bill Perkins that he could ride from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, approximately 300 miles, in less than 48 hours. True to his word, Dan managed to complete the ride in 33 hours with no medical assistance and won the bet. Bill Perkins gave him $600,000 for winning. Sources reveal that Dan is trained for free to race by professional bike racer Lance Armstrong in exchange for $25,000. The $25,000 goes into charity, as Lance Armstrong has a charity organization called the Livestrong Foundation for children and adults fighting cancer. 4. Charity projects. Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Thanks to his philanthropic nature, Dan Bilzerian has spread his wealth through many charitable projects. In addition to the contribution to the Livestrong Foundation by Lance Armstrong, Dan Bilzerian started a project which he named the Robin Hood Project. Through his project, he donates huge amounts of money, up to $10,000 per person, to people in dire need of financial assistance. People living with disabilities have highly benefited from his project. One of the earliest beneficiaries of his project was a woman who could use the donation to get a better quality wheelchair to ease her movements wherever she went. I know you may be asking, why $10,000? Dan Bilzerian donates that amount of money per person because any amount higher than that will be taxed by the US government, which he tries to avoid. In 2015, Dan hosted a poker tournament in which all proceeds from the event were to raise money for medical research to do with the brain. The tournament took place in his home in Las Vegas, where he charged an entrance fee of $1,000. Prominent celebrities such as Ludacris, Vin Diesel, and many more turned up for the event. By the end of the event, Dan Bilzerian was able to raise and donate $100,000 towards the research. 3. Controversies. From a young age, Dan Bilzerian has been a lover of guns. When in primary school, he once carried a machine gun to school, and even though he had no intentions of firing the gun, he was expelled and had to finish his senior year from home and didn't graduate from school as his classmates did. Today, Dan Bilzerian owns over 100 different guns, and he says that laws concerning the possession of guns should be eased, as guns are a form of self-defense. He has a special room in his mansion to store and display his guns. Despite his fearless display on Instagram, Dan was filmed running away from a Las Vegas shooting where a woman was shot dead. This caused his Instagram followers to wonder in disbelief if he was a trained Navy SEAL. 2. Dan Bilzerian's relationships. Dan has not committed to anyone, despite Instagram fame and the girls he has been posting. He does not have a wife, but has had girlfriends including Haley Grice, Hannah Palmer, Sophia Beverly, Sulin Medeiros, Morgan Holtgren, Katie Bell, Lauren Blake, Desiree Schlotz, and Lady Amelia. Dan Bilzerian is not married and does not have any kids. Number 1. Luxurious life of Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian lives in a luxurious estate in the Hollywood Hills. The house gives a 270-degree view of the city. The pool is located over the hillside. Cash-counting machines, poker tables, and a large garage for his Lamborghini and the chrome-plated 1965 AC Cobra are some assets in his house. His cat Smushball and the goats Zeus and Beatrice accompany him in the house. These pet members sleep on a $700 blanket outside. Not to mention, girls can be seen everywhere around the house. Bilzerian's neighbors include the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio and the multi-billionaire nightclub impresario Sam Nazarian. The king of Instagram documents a highly outrageous lifestyle in his feeds, a life that is free from any moral, financial, or legal constraints. He gets his hair cut by bare-breasted women. His poker bets are never less than 8 digits. To carry around his anti-tank guns, he buys a new pickup truck. Bilzerian has a fleet of best sports cars. His car's sample plates say, "Suck It" and "Mr. Goat." He also owns a Gulfstream 4 jet that has his personal emblem on the tail. Apart from wealth, poker, and game, the thing that is most important for him is his beard. He even refused the offer of $100,000 to shave his beard, given by one of the Facebook founders. Sadly, only some months later, he was clean-shaven for a film. What are your thoughts about him? Thanks for watching.